Find them everywhere. They're inexpensive, nutritious, and colorful. They please the gourmet and the Weight Watcher alike. Nothing is quite so basic to our modern way of life as the salad. And you can earn smiles of delight from your customers if you just keep a cool head for salads. The heart of a green salad is iceberg lettuce. Your salad starts here with the cleaning and storage of the heads. First, remove the outer damaged leaves. Then remove the core with a stainless salad knife and immerse the heads in ice-cold water. With the core removed, the water flows between the leaves and washes out all sand and dirt. To store the heads after soaking, a perforated container such as a colander or rack is used to allow moisture to drain. Do not soak heads for more than 6 or 7 minutes. Now, to keep the clean heads cool, lay a wet cloth over them and cover the surface with ice. Refrigerator storage will now bring the moist lettuce up to the point of its maximum crispness. They will keep for as long as a week, until you are ready to mix in the other salad ingredients. Now it is time to cut up the lettuce for mixing. But first, the outer leaves must be removed for use in decorating salad bowls or for sandwiches. Then, with apologies to those who believe all lettuce must be torn by hand, our pantry man cuts it into bite-sized portions. The chopped lettuce is then placed in a stainless steel or plastic container. Covered with ice again, it can be refrigerated as before to crisp it up. But a salad is more than lettuce. Among the many other greens which can be used are Boston lettuce and watercress, both torn by hand because they are soft and delicate. Romaine, with its special texture and taste. And for variety, curly endive. For hearty zest, chopped cabbage. Crisply refreshing celery. And that spicy favorite, chopped parsley. Those tasty tidbits such as onions, cucumbers, garlic, or green pepper should be used as garnishments only, added just before serving. The best salads preserve the distinctive taste of each item. The goal is not a taste mess, such as will result if you add soft ingredients too early also, but a taste delight. Now comes the moment that separates the artist from the amateur. When it is time to prepare the salad for presentation to the customer, the key ingredient is the pantry man himself and his imagination. Now that is a rare gift possessed by only a few. But there are some simple basic rules which will make a man's salads and him look good. Rule 1, color. Choose brightly colored garnishments and arrange them with their colors in mind. Let yourself go. Paint a picture. Rule 2, design. The colorful garnishments should form an eye-pleasing pattern with their different colors and shapes combined in an interesting whole. Note the use here of different colors of meat with cheese, as well as the garnishments for the eye and for the taste. And add a finishing touch to give it that extra something. Now that's a chef salad. Here's a delightful variation on the theme of the ordinary green salad. The ingredients are romaine, iceberg lettuce, Boston lettuce, and watercress. With a little shredded cabbage and finely sliced radishes for variety. Then, just for the fun of it, croutons. Notice how the chopped parsley is sprinkled liberally over it. The bits of parsley cling to all the other items, adding flavor to each one. Now we are going to turn our salad man loose and let him display his artistic abilities on one of his specialties. This one has a base of romaine and an exotic topping of avocado, grapefruit, and pimento. Part of the fun, pleasure, and profit of salad making is this. It allows room for creativity. But remember, although the possible combinations of ingredients may be infinite, and the creative pantry man is free to let himself go, the heart of most salads is greens. The crisp, cool texture of the greens is what makes your salads the delightful experiences they are. Here's a general rule about dressing. They must not know moments of preparation. Greens absorb the oils of dressing to their crispness. The tossing of the salad is the final step. Often it is done right at the table. And finally, served on a cold plate, your salad is ready to bring to your customers a unique experience of healthful delight.
Hello everybody, I'm Skip Alsheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show. And that is the third time that we tried to watch that film, and we succeeded. Was it worth it? I don't know, but... Oh, brother, what's going on? Chaos. Anyways, we got a box... No, I'm sorry, we got 5 boxes of films last week, and I was digging through them. They were from a community college on the East Coast, and... of North Carolina, and so I've been wanting to watch some of them. Never mind the fact that I have probably 34,000 films that I still haven't watched. And I'm like, ooh, these new ones, I gotta watch these. So that's what we have there. Happy birthday, Zymerman. I met him in Bloomington, Indiana. He came to a screening I did, and it was great. So happy birthday to you. I hope you have a good day. It's nice outside, so it's hard for me to sit inside. Oh boy, a little discombobulated though. I had to pick up Katrina at the airport, and so that threw off my day. Anyways, zoo babies. Let's learn about them. Let's love them. Enjoy.
Hamsters, aren't they, Miss Gray?
That's right, hamsters. Now, do you think the babies look like their mother?
Yeah. Yes, they do. Well, yes, they do. But I think they'll look just like her when they grow up. Oh, look, they're getting food from their mother, aren't they?
That's right, Pete.
Will their mother take care of them until they've grown up? I think so. Of course she will. All animal mothers take care of their babies, don't they?
Well, let's think about that. We took a trip to the zoo last week. What can we remember about babies growing up at the zoo? On Monkey Island, there are many babies with their mothers and fathers. The babies stay close to their mothers until they grow big enough to take care of themselves. Tiny babies are carried about in their mother's arms. Here's a baby too big to be carried in its mother's arms, but still too small to make this steep climb by itself. So it gets a free ride on mother's back. The mothers watch their babies closely, always ready to protect them. Drinking mother's milk is the way these babies have their first meals. As they grow up, they learn to find their own food. And as they grow, they come to look more and more like their parents. Many animal babies look like their parents. This is the new, spelled G-N-U, new. When they are grown, they have long horns that they use to protect themselves. This baby new still feels safer staying close to his mother, even though he's big enough to move around on his own. Already the baby new walks the way his parents walk. And he looks like them, with the same dark face and dark mane. He still tries to drink his mother's milk. But she knows he's big enough to eat grass by himself. He'll grow up, and then he'll grow horns too, and be able to protect himself. Here is the baby kudu, K-U-D-U. Did you ever see such big ears? Now, this baby doesn't look much like its father. It does look more like its mother. Do you think it's grown up enough to find its own food? It can run fast, just as its father did. Running will help it grow big and strong. Can you see how the markings on the baby are like its mother's? Already this young kudu seems able to get along without much care from its mother, doesn't it? Now, what kind of babies are these? They look like kittens, don't they? Big kittens. They're lion cubs. The mother and father lion do not look like kittens. They're so big and strong. When you really look at the cubs, you can see that they do look something like their parents. But of course, many changes take place in an animal's body as it is growing up. These babies will change too. The mother lion doesn't seem to be paying much attention to her babies. And the cubs, even though they're quite small, seem to feel safe by themselves. Now, here are some babies that are trying very hard to stay with their mother. Can you tell what kind of chicks these are? Let's look at the father. Now, do you know? He's a peacock. It's hard to imagine that any of these plain-looking chicks will ever look like this handsome bird. But as they grow up, the chicks will change as they grow to look like their mother or father. Now they want to feel safe staying close to mother. This mother does not give milk to her babies, but she does help them find food. From the time the chicks are hatched from eggs, they have to eat from the ground. The alligator is another baby that is hatched from an egg and gets no milk from its mother. These babies look quite a bit like full-grown alligators, don't they? But there are differences, especially the bright stripes on their bodies. Baby alligators are not protected by their mother after they are hatched and led to the water. And they have to find their own food. As it grows older, the young alligator looks much more like the full-grown animals. It is protected from other animals by its size, its thick skin, and its powerful tail. Black bears. It's always fun to watch them, isn't it? While the big bears are begging for food, let's see what we can find out about how baby bears grow up. Here's a baby black bear, a cub. Do you think he's big enough yet to climb that rock by himself? Here's the mother bear and another cub. Do you think the cubs look like their mother? Do you think they'll look more like her as they grow up? Well, it seems these babies also want to stay close to mother. They want their mother's milk. Like most of the animals we've seen, the mother bear gives her babies their first food, and she cares for them while they're growing up. And like most young ones, the bear cubs like to rest and to play. That's a part of growing up, isn't it? This one still wants to climb a rock. Those are the babies we saw at the zoo. Remember?
Yes.
Now we can understand more about our baby hamsters, can't we?
Yes.
Sure.
The babies do look like their mother. They are getting milk from the mother, and we can watch to see how they get the other kinds of food. And we can watch to see whether this mother will protect her babies until they grow up, can't we, Miss Crick?
We certainly can, Helen. We can learn about other animal babies, how they get their food and how they're protected.
Won't it be fun to find out and then write a story?
Yes, Alan, there's much to learn, and there are many stories to write and tell about animal babies growing up.
So it's interesting how many films I have that are about zoos. I have lots. I even have, one of my favorite is things to do when visiting a zoo, which is basically instructions for kids about how to do a field trip to the zoo. And it's narrated by a squirrel, who's actually Godfrey Cambridge, who you might know. He's a comedian from the 60s. He shows up on Laugh-In occasionally. He was in the lead in Watermelon Man. And he also is the guy who made the film Dead is Dead, which is one of the most outrageous drug films that we have in our collection, and is a good candidate for showing at the next AV Geeks After Dark, which we'll probably do again this year. All right, what do we got? I'm so excited to show this film. This next film is fascinating to me because of the title and the subject matter, but I don't know. It might be really boring. But that's part of the deal. This is Plastic Journey. Enjoy.
Destination, the Ford Motor Company. Cargo, pellets. Tiny beads of plastic which are on a long but interesting journey. Plastic, a material in great demand by its development as a lightweight, durable, and relatively inexpensive substitute for metal parts has brought revolutionary changes. But the journey of plastic pellets really began a long time ago, back in 1863 to be exact, when billiard balls were still being made of ivory. The craze for this newfangled game outran the supply of raw materials, elephant tusks, so a $10,000 prize was offered for a practical substitute. John H. Hyatt, a printer by trade, won the prize with the formula which was to become known as celluloid. Through the years, new and improved materials have been developed. Today, the automotive industry is turning more and more to plastics as the answer to many of its needs. The radiator grille on one of these cars is made from metal, the other plastic. The comparison illustrates some of the recent progress that has been made by the plastics industry. Chrome plating of large plastic parts in production volumes. Another advance is the larger size of parts that can be molded, such as instrument panels. Each is made of one piece of plastic. Such parts are made by injection molding in highly automated factories like the Ford Motor Company installation in Saline, Michigan, which is devoted exclusively to the production of both decorative and non-decorative automotive parts. Tail light lenses, instrument clusters, interior trim, heater ducts, odometer rolls, parking light lenses, accelerator pedals, light filters, fan shrouds, to name just a few. All plastic parts originate from plastic pellets, which are shipped in from the manufacturer in specially designed hopper cars. Upon arrival at the plant, the pellets are unloaded using hoses which draw them out by suction and transport them directly to storage areas within the plant. Once inside the plant, overhead pipes carry the pellets to primary hoppers. From the hoppers, they pour into flow bins, are weighed, and then distributed throughout the plant. After reaching an injection molding machine, the pellets are piped, again by suction, to feed hoppers on top of the machine, where they are dried and readied for use. The size of the hopper needed is determined by the drying time required for the particular type of plastic being used in the machine. There are many varieties of thermoplastic pellets. They become molten when heated to temperatures ranging between 400 and 600 degrees Fahrenheit. From the feed hopper, a measured amount of pellets is drawn by a rotating screw into the heating chamber, where it is liquefied for the next injection cycle. The screw now acts as a piston, forcing the liquid plastic into the mold. Once injected, it must cool to a solid. On a large machine, cooling takes about 1 minute. On a small one, just a few seconds. Cooling time governs how many parts a machine can make in an hour. The two halves of the mold must be held together with tremendous force. The larger the part being made, the greater the force needed. Here, a clamping force of 2,500 tons is required to make two instrument panels simultaneously, the weight of 1,200 large automobiles. With that amount of pressure, a part weighing up to 20 pounds can be successfully molded. The instrument panel weighs only 6 pounds, so there's plenty of shot capacity to spare. A machine rated at only 8 tons with a 4/10 ounce shot capacity is all that is required to make windshield wiper gears. A horizontal molding press is busy making interior seat trim. A single vertical molding machine can produce filter housings at the rate of 270 per hour. The larger horizontal molding press, in this case, is making clock covers. A look at the molds used in injection molding shows the runners which have been provided for the molten plastic to enter. The runners in the mold leave extra pieces in the finished part, which are trimmed before use. The mold cavity must be slightly larger than the part to be made, because shrinkage takes place as the plastic cools and solidifies. The surface of the cavity must have precisely the characteristics desired on the finished part. Making the mold is very exacting work and must show great craftsmanship. If the manufactured part is to be as smooth as glass, the mold must have a mirror finish. A perfect surface is especially critical if the part is to be plated, since the slightest roughness will show. Fitting the two parts of the mold together is still another challenge. Vents are provided for the air to escape when the hot charge enters, but are too small for the plastic to pass through. Constant surveillance is necessary to make sure that the machines are running properly. In another part of the plant, a controller keeps track of every machine on the floor. Each set of lights on the panel monitors a different machine. As long as the machines are working well, there is no signal. But a flashing red light means trouble. Whenever there's a problem, the controller sends the appropriate technician. Perhaps a machine has malfunctioned or damage has occurred to a mold. The technician checks, and if the problem is minor, gets the machine going again. When a large press is down, it can cost the company hundreds of dollars per hour. The information received by the control panel is also fed into a computer, and all the information is printed out and stored daily. In addition, it oversees the plating operation, which is also automated. The first step in the process is to pre-treat the plastic parts to accept a base coat of metal. The parts, in this case radiator grills, are then electroplated in successive solutions which coats them with layers of copper and nickel. Finally, a layer of chromium is applied, just 10/1000th of an inch thick. In approximately 3½ hours, the plating process is complete and the parts are dried. After visual inspection, the grills are sent on for additional decoration. Another method of plating plastic is by vacuum metallizing. The pre-coated parts are hung on racks which go into a vacuum chamber. Small strips of aluminum are hung on electrical filaments mounted along a center rack. The racks with the aluminum strips fit into the middle of the rotating frame on which the plastic parts are hung. After the chamber is sealed, vacuum pumps remove the air. An electric current evaporates the aluminum, which in the vacuum coats the plastic parts. The process is best suited for the decoration of parts not subjected to harsh environmental conditions. After plating has been completed, the parts must be coated with a thin layer of lacquer, which provides protection for the part. Automotive engineers like plastics for certain parts because of its versatility and relatively low cost.
We found in comparison with zinc that we would have a savings of about 85 cents a part.
Oh, that's great, that's great. How about if they plan to plate it, John? Do you think that we could plate this grill with no problem, even as it is designed as a painted grill?
Yes, we can both chrome plate and perform standard paint operations on the grill and maintain a cost savings as opposed to zinc die cast without any increased tooling time.
Dave, how are we from a manpower standpoint in our decorating area? Are we able to contain the program with the amount of people we have over there?
Yes, I don't think we're going to need any increased manpower. We are deleting some operations, so in fact we may be able to reduce it in that area and still maintain production on that part.
The day of the mass-produced plastic automobile body is still somewhere in the future because it is still more economical to make many parts from sheet metal. Yet plastics are playing an ever-growing role in the new automobiles which are produced each year, as indeed they are in a great variety of manufactured goods which began as pellets and end up as functional and aesthetically pleasing products.
that was, for me, it gave me great joy. I'm sure that it was annoying and got tedious. Soundtrack was great, but it then reminded me of a better film about plastics that is shorter and kind of gives you the same gist of it and has a better soundtrack. Here's Plastics. Enjoy.
No matter which way you go, it looks different. It looks like it's from space.
What are these made out of? Those cute little ones.
It looks like a neon tube.
Color in it is beautiful. It's almost like glass.
Electronic musician, has albums out, both before this film came out and after this film came out. I did a screening of this film in New York City, and people were like, "Ooh, Carl Stone, he's great." So there you go. And I think that I like Plastic Journey, but man, Plastics just ramps it up. It takes the same content and just ramps it up without the boring narration. All right, one last film on the scanner behind me. Yeah, let's go ahead and watch it. Enjoy.
Careful, Paul, there aren't! Hold it, police!
Today begins Paul Jackson's 2-week vacation. The family had been planning a trip to Hawaii for months. Reservations for hotel, car rental, and island tours had all been made. The life of a police officer is dangerous, but they never thought about the possibility of Paul being hurt by a simple slip and fall accident. Each year, more than 2 million employees are seriously hurt or killed in work-related falls. I investigate accidents every day. Take my word for it, falls are no laughing matter. They're a very serious threat to your safety on the job, no matter what type of work you do. Jack Fleming, age 28. He'd worked for the phone company for 6 months and was off to a good start on his new job. The last thing on his mind was an accident like this. Jack was lucky to be young and in good shape. He suffered a small scalp laceration, a mild concussion, and a torn ligament in his shoulder. He was in the hospital overnight and off work for 2 weeks.
I deliver snack foods to supermarkets. One morning it was foggy and the loading dock was wet. I was dollying a dozen boxes out to my truck, and I guess I slipped. Next thing I knew, I was flat on my back on the concrete.
There's not much to tell. I was climbing into the truck and my foot slipped out from under me. Someone had spilled some oil on the garage floor and, well, I must have stepped in it.
You'd think the major hazard for people who drive for a living would be traffic accidents, but it's not. More truck drivers are hurt in slips, trips, and falls than in motor vehicle collisions. All types of falls are alike in one very basic respect. A fall is caused by unexpected change in traction between two surfaces: the foot surface and the walking surface. The key word in the definition is unexpected. It's important to develop the habit of being alert to the world around you. When you see and recognize a hazardous situation, it's not unexpected, and you can cope with it. Jack Fleming could have saved himself a lot of pain if he'd been in the habit of thinking traction. Almost all walking surfaces are dangerous when wet, so walk, don't run. And if you have to walk through mud or oil, clean the soles of your footwear as soon as possible. Think traction. You wouldn't drive on tires with all the tread worn off. Don't walk in shoes with smooth, tractionless soles. Most of us don't drive trucks for a living. We work indoors, safe from the hazards of Mother Nature. Accident prevention isn't something we need to worry about. We are not likely to become one of the slip, trip, and fall statistics, right? Wrong. More than twice as many slips and falls occur to office workers than to non-office workers. 31-year-old Pamela Barlow had worked her way into the position of evening newscaster with a large West Coast TV station. Her mind occupied with sagging economies and international conflicts, She never considered the possibility of a tiny object like this bringing personal tragedy into her own life. Miss Barlow suffered a skull fracture. She was unconscious 4 days of her 3-week stay in the hospital, and she has a permanent loss of hearing in her right ear, all because of a paperclip.
When we first started using computers here, there weren't any electric outlets near our desks, so we had extension cords strung all over the place. It was a mess. I stumbled twice. Lucky I didn't break my neck.
I was leaning back in my chair with my feet up on the desk. All of a sudden, the chair just slammed over backwards.
What?
The library was closing. I was hurrying through a couple last-minute checkouts, and Dorothy was carrying an armload of books to the reshelving cart. Someone had left a stack of books in the aisle, and Dorothy tripped over them. She broke an elbow and 2 fingers.
Employee carelessness is the #1 cause of slips, trips, and falls in the office. It's important to keep alert, to recognize hazards when we see them and remove them. But it's even more important to be certain that we don't create those hazards. The majority of office falls and 35% of all work-related slips and falls are caused by poor housekeeping in the workplace. We should keep our own work area in order. Complacency is the attitude that accident prevention belongs only out on the construction site. Often, these 2 mistakes come together in the office with tragic results. Evelyn Burke has been with the company more than 30 years. She knows her job so well she can almost function by habit. Almost. Evelyn broke her pelvis. The fracture wouldn't heal properly, and she never went back to work.
The floor was still wet from cleaning when I walked into the room and lost my footing. It didn't seem like a serious fall, but it was. I injured my back, and no one was able to make it better. I was forced to take early retirement.
Goodbye. All of my desk drawers were full, and the top of my desk was buried in paperwork. So I started stacking things on the floor. As the pile grew, it became something of an office joke. Then one afternoon, Bill tripped over it and hurt himself. All of a sudden, the junk around my desk didn't seem funny anymore. I felt like a criminal.
Safety is a part of everyone's job. We have a responsibility to look out for ourselves and our co-workers. A hazard could have been corrected as simply as that, and an active woman would not have been made an invalid. No matter what type of work you do, learn to be alert to those subtle yet serious hazards. Danger is not always where you'd expect it. Even among the most risky professions, the slip, trip, and fall accident is a leading cause of injury and death. Responding to a report of domestic violence, Patrolman Bob Hannon failed to notice the ice. He spent 2 weeks in the hospital and was off the job nearly 3 months. More police officers are injured in falls than with lawbreakers.
I got a call on a D&D, a drunk and disorderly. I pulled up to the bar, jumped out of the patrol car, and slipped on the rainy, oil-slick pavement. Just like that, I was flat on my back and out of commission.
514, 10-8. We're in and out of the patrol car constantly, day and night, every kind of weather you can imagine. We climb fire escapes, scale fences. It's all part of a day's work. It's not surprising that slip and fall accidents are a big hazard for us.
My partner and I arrived at a robbery scene just in time to see the suspect disappear into a dark alley. We saw him go up and over the fence. I started down the alley after him. It was dark. I couldn't see where I was going. I tripped in a pothole and fell on my face.
In emergencies, even more than in everyday life, it's important to keep alert for traction-stealing hazards. Here's how Officer Hannon could have handled his approach to the incident. He should have slowed his stride and then stepped flat-footed on the ice with his toes pointed slightly out for maximum traction. People are responsible for many of their own slips, trips, and falls, but people can learn to be the solution. Protect yourself and others. Learn the art of preventing slips, trips, and falls. Be aware. Practice responsibility. And always think traction. For your own sake and for others, practice the art of preventing slips, trips, and falls. One aspect of responsibility is knowing how to help a coworker if he or she is injured. In almost every community, the American Red Cross offers classes in first aid, training that has saved and will save many lives. First aid is important, but even more important is preventing accidents in the first place. Safety is part of everyone's job. When you see a hazard, correct it or report it. Accident prevention must be a joint venture between employees and management. Workers should report hazards to their supervisors.
Maintenance people check it out. Thanks for coming to me and telling me about it.
Employees and management working together can prevent many slip, trip, and fall accidents.
Thank you very much for reporting this to me.
In humanistic terms, the cost of on-the-job injuries and deaths are incalculable. In dollars and cents, it costs industry an average of $9,400 for each of the more than 200,000 yearly slip, trip, and fall accidents. In more ways than one, we can't afford not to put safety first. His death was listed as a no-fault accident because the company met all current safety requirements. But for the increased safety of their employees, management decided to go beyond basic safety requirements. They ripped up the existing assembly line flooring and replaced it with the ultimate in high-traction flooring. Steel plates impregnated with aluminum oxide grains. Here's another example of management working to prevent slip and fall accidents. Larry Cohn was concerned about the hazardous floor surface in the kitchen of his fast food restaurant. He couldn't afford aluminum oxide steel plates, but where there's a will, there's a way. The sand in the paint will provide greater traction, even when the floor is oily or wet. An economical but effective way to help protect his employees from slips and falls. Management cooperation is important, and so is safety education. But the major component in accident prevention is the individual. We need to look out for ourselves and our coworkers. Remember the art of preventing slips, trips, and falls. Be aware of your surroundings. Keep an eye out for those unexpected changes in walking surfaces that cause falls. Be responsible. Correct or report hazardous conditions. Always think traction in the footwear you choose and in the way you make use of the walking and climbing surfaces around you. In almost all occupations, falls are the #1 hazard, and the most common cause of slips, trips, and falls is poor housekeeping in the workplace. Usually, we cause the problem, and it's our responsibility to solve it. All the safety education programs in the world can't make up for employees who are just too busy to look out for each other. Most slips, trips, and falls are caused by carelessness and could be prevented if someone would take the time to correct or report a dangerous condition. How many hazards have you spotted and then just passed on by? Sure, you're busy. Of course it's an inconvenience to stop and pick up a paperclip from the floor, or knock on the supervisor's door to report a poorly lit area, or get a paper towel and wipe up a coffee spill. You are responsible for keeping your own work areas safe. Correct or report hazardous conditions in the footwear you select and in where and how you walk or climb. And if you do take the time to correct or report a hazard, it's almost certain you won't get a hero's medal for your trouble. But you just may save someone's life.
People that made plastics? Sandler? Wow. I love the scratching. That they had a lot of people falling down. So yeah, that's part of a series, and I've got others in the series that I will show. And because I'm kind of late, I'm not going to show the Shake Hands with Danger song, but I will show it later this week when I show another film in this series. Although the other ones don't seem as fall hazard related, but I don't know. Like, they kind of stepped up their game with this, so pretty great. Okay, everybody have a great rest of your day. Happy birthday again, Zimmerman, and we will see you tomorrow, Tuesday. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be great. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button. Subscribe. You can also donate via the Super Thanks button, or go to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks. Those are great ways to support us, and we will see you tomorrow. Everybody have a good rest of your day. Take care.